Okay, so anyone listening is probably interested in what's going on back home in Alegbo, especially with the holidays coming up.
Yeah, definitely a lot happening.
We took a deep dive into some recent news,
Yeah.
and things are kind of tense, to say the least.
So sure.
It's December 31st, 2024.
Wow. End of the year already.
Yeah, crazy,
All right.
right? And there's a lot going on in southeastern Nigeria.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
So to get us started, we found this article from Vanguard News.
Okay.
It's titled, "Return Home, We Will Protect You." IPOB tells Igbo in Diaspora.
Interesting.
So anyone who might not know, Alegbo is the homeland of the Igbo people.
Right.
And it's currently part of Nigeria.
Hmm.
And as we head into the new year, which is like a super important time for Igbo people to come together
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and celebrate, there's this call for the diaspora to return.
Yeah, this is a really fascinating situation because it's not just a simple invitation.
Right.
It's tangled up in a lot of history and politics and very real fears.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this article a little bit.
That sounds good.
Starting with who exactly is IPOB
Right.
and why their message is causing such a stir.
Yeah, so IPOB stands for the Indigenous People of Biafra.
Okay.
They're a group that's been advocating for an independent state for the Igbo people in southeastern Nigeria.
Got it.
And this push for independence actually goes way back to the Biafran War in the late 1960s,
Oh, wow.
a conflict that left deep scars on the region.
Right.
And IPOB has become increasingly vocal in recent years,
Okay.
often clashing with the Nigerian government over their demands.
So this article really puts that tension front and center, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
On one hand, they're urging Igbo people in the diaspora to return to Alegbo for the holidays,
Right.
specifically Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
And they're going so far as to promise safety and protection,
Wow.
even saying things like Alegbo is a very peaceful region.
That's interesting.
So what's striking here is they're emphasizing the role of their own security force,
Okay.
the Eastern Security Network, or ESN, in ensuring a peaceful atmosphere.
Interesting. So it's almost like they're trying to present this very idyllic picture
Right.
of a safe and welcoming homeland
Yeah.
in contrast to maybe what some people fear.
Exactly. They even have a quote from their media and publicity secretary, Comrade Emma Powerful,
Okay.
who says, ESN operatives will provide a peaceful atmosphere during the festive period. Our people should come home and contribute their best to ensuring that Alegbo remains peaceful.
That's a pretty strong statement.
It really is, and it feeds into a bigger strategy we see from IPOB.
Okay, how so?
They're not just tugging on those emotional heartstrings.
Right.
They're also trying to position Alegbo as a strategic economic hub in Africa.
I see.
They're actively calling for investment from the diaspora.
Wow.
Almost saying, come back not just to celebrate, but to be part of building a new future.
That's really interesting. So it's more than just a holiday homecoming.
Right.
It's about long-term commitment.
Exactly. But if we flip the script a little, the article also points out that some Igbo people living abroad are hesitant,
Yeah,
maybe even downright terrified to return.
I can imagine.
And they seem to have very good reasons to feel that way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The article names a few individuals.
Okay.
Kitty Bear, Irolewe, Kaolu, Oji, Agudubuisi Uba, and Igwe Obasi,
Got it.
who were allegedly involved in IPOB activities back in Nigeria.
Okay.
They ended up facing arrest.
Wow.
Some even reported torture,
Oh, God.
and they fled to Europe seeking safety.
Right.
For them, this call to come home probably rings pretty hollow.
So we have this stark contrast, IPOB saying, come home, it's safe.
Right.
And then you have people who have experienced the opposite.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder who's painting the most accurate picture of what's happening in Alegbo.
For sure.
Could you maybe shed some light on why these individuals might be so fearful?
Yeah, so their fear is rooted in the very complex and often tense relationship between IPOB and the Nigerian government.
Okay.
The government considers IPOB a separatist group.
Right.
And any activities they perceive as challenging their authority are met with pretty harsh responses.
Wow.
So for these individuals who were already on the government's radar,
Yeah.
returning could be incredibly risky.
Right.
They could face rearrest, further harassment, or even worse.
It's a really tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
Wanting to be with family, wanting to maybe contribute to Alegbo's future, but also facing the very real potential for danger if they do return. It's like this impossible choice, wouldn't you say?
It really highlights the very real human cost of this political struggle.
Yeah.
These aren't just abstract arguments. These are people's lives being directly affected by these tensions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaking dilemma, and it goes beyond just this one holiday season.
Right.
It speaks to a much larger issue,
Okay.
the complicated relationship between the Igbo diaspora and their homeland.
Yeah, it's like this constant pull between wanting to be connected to your roots,
Oh, wow.
to contribute, but also knowing that there are very real risks involved.
Exactly. And that tension is only heightened by the current political climate.
Right.
IPOB's call for investment for people to bring their resources back to Alegbo is particularly fascinating in this context.
It's almost like they're saying, if you truly believe in the future of a separate Biafra, then put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
But that's a huge ask, especially considering the concerns about security
Right.
and how the Nigerian government views IPOB.
Absolutely. And it gets even more complex when you consider IPOB's claims about the Nigerian government's role in all of this.
Okay, that's a pretty serious accusation.
Yeah.
What exactly are they saying?
Well, they claim that the heavy presence of military and police checkpoints throughout the region is a major source of insecurity and harassment.
Wow.
They even have a quote in the article that says, "The uncountable numbers of police and military extortion checkpoints are frustrating motorists and all travelers."
So they're arguing that it's not just about the threat of violence, but also the everyday experience of living in a heavily militarized environment.
Exactly.
Imagine trying to visit your family or just go about your daily life with that kind of constant presence.
Yeah,
That's a lot to deal with.
it is. And it raises the question, if the Nigerian government is truly committed to peace and order,
Right.
why such a heavy-handed approach?
Yeah.
Is it truly effective in creating a stable environment?
It feels like there's a disconnect between what they're saying and what people on the ground are experiencing.
Huh?
It's making me think about whose perspective we're supposed to trust here.
Yeah.
IPOB is saying one thing,
Right.
but then you have these individuals who have actually faced real danger.
For sure.
How do we sort through these conflicting narratives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And it's one that every person in the diaspora has to grapple with.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer.
Okay.
And each individual has to weigh the risks and benefits for themselves.
It really makes this whole situation feel like a high-stakes gamble,
Yeah, I agree.
both for those considering returning and for the future of Alegbo itself.
Definitely high stakes.
What do you think the long-term consequences of all of this might be? Do you think IPOB will be able to achieve their goals peacefully? Will the government ever come to the table and acknowledge their demands?
Those are really tough questions.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But what's clear is that this situation is far from resolved.
Okay.
And it will continue to have a profound impact on the lives of Igbo people, both at home and abroad.
So as you continue to follow events in Alegbo and maybe even consider whether to return yourself,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to people trying to make sense of all of this?
I think the most important thing is to go beyond the headlines
Okay.
and look for a variety of sources. Don't just rely on IPOB's statements or the government's pronouncements. Try to find independent reporting.
Got it.
Listen to the stories of everyday people living in the region.
Yeah.
And be open to the possibility that the truth is complex and nuanced.
Wow. That's great advice. It's so easy to get caught up in the political back and forth,
For sure.
but at the end of the day, it's real people whose lives are being affected. Their
Yeah.
stories are the ones that really matter.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about politics. It's about identity belonging and the future of a people.
And it's about making really tough choices with no guarantee of what the outcome will be. I know this is a lot to take in, so I'm curious, what are your thoughts so far?
It really is a lot to think about. For me, what stands out is the courage of those who are willing to return.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
despite the risks.
For sure.
It speaks volumes about their connection to Alegbo and their desire to be part of its future.
It really is testament to the powerful pull of home, of family, of culture.
Right.
It's something that transcends fear and uncertainty.
This whole conversation has been eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah.
We started with this single news article, but we uncovered so many layers of history, politics, and human experience.
Makes you realize how complex this situation really is.
It's a reminder that the headlines often only tell a small part of the story.
Right.
It's when you delve deeper, explore different perspectives, and really listen to the voices on the ground that you begin to grasp the true complexity of situations like this.
I'm also thinking about the responsibility of those of us in the diaspora.
Yeah.
How can we best support our people back home? How can we use our voices and resources to advocate for peace and justice, even from afar?
That's a crucial question, and I think it starts with staying informed,
Okay.
engaging in meaningful dialogue, and supporting organizations that are working towards positive change on the ground.
So it's about finding ways to bridge the distance, to show solidarity, and to amplify the voices of those who are often marginalized or silenced.
Absolutely, and it's about recognizing that the future of Alagbo is not just for those who live there,
Right.
but for all Igbo people, regardless of where they are in the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into such a complex and challenging topic, I want to leave you with this thought. What can you do, even in a small way, to make a positive impact? Maybe it's staying informed, donating to a cause you believe in, or simply having conversations with your family and friends about this issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Every action, no matter how small, can contribute to a better future.
Absolutely, and remember, this is an ongoing story.
Hmm.
The situation in Alagbo is constantly evolving.
Right.
So stay curious, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into
It
Alegbo.
was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those critical thinking skills sharp.